James, you've raised several fair points, but you're also blending different levels of explanation together. And that's where the disagreement actually sits. You're right about one thing. Science does not need a fully complete account to be taken seriously. Not finished is not the same as impossible. That's a reasonable standard. But however, nevertheless, LOL, the question being raised is not whether research is ongoing. The question is narrower and more specific. James, you can lie to me, and you may be able to lie to yourself. Answer this. Have the proposed mechanisms demonstrated the capacity to produce the class of outcomes being claimed? You and I both know the answer is no, but I digress. We both know that it is a causal sufficiency question, not a completion question. You describe evolution as a system of interacting processes, variation, selection, drift, chemistry, and that is accurate at the level of observable change within existing systems. No one seriously disputes that. And you know this? The issue is whether those same processes have been shown to generate new integrated systems and information-bearing structures, not just modify what already exists. Pointing out that each component alone is insufficient is not selective blindness. It is testing whether the combined system has actually demonstrated that capacity. A system claim has to be evaluated at the system level, not assumed from its parts. So, James, put up or shut up. So let us move on to information. You called DNA chemistry with memory, LOL. That is a description, not an explanation. The question is not whether DNA is made of molecules. It is whether unguided chemical processes, James believes in magic, have been shown to generate functional, sequence-specific information at the level required for biological systems. That remains an open question, not a closed one. Now, let us move on to abiogenesis, James. Simply saying research is producing plausible pathways is fine, but plausibility, that just proves you have a working imagination, is not demonstration. The standard here is not certainty, but demonstrated capacity. Those are different. Now let us move on to the designer point. James, the argument is not insert a designer and stop. The argument is based on causal uniformity. When we observe, this is what is called science, James, a certain type of effect, it could be complex, specified, information-rich systems. The only cause we consistently observe producing that type of effect is intelligence. That does not prove design in biology automatically, but it does make it a legitimate explanatory candidate, not something that can be excluded before evaluation. Now, on to the I, James. The incremental improvement, theory or guess, is not the disputed point. The question is whether incremental steps have been shown to build the full coordinated system required for vision. Listing possible intermediate forms shows variation and adaptation. It does not by itself establish the origin of the integrated system. The real difference between you and I is this. You are treating the current framework as sufficient unless proven otherwise. That is not how science works. The question being asked is whether that sufficiency has actually been demonstrated, or whether it is being assumed and protected while the details are filled in later. That is not a double standard. It is the same standard applied in any field, we always ask. Does the proposed cause have demonstrated power to produce the effect being claimed? James, until that is shown at the level of origin and integration, the question remains open. So, as always, dear James, you are missing the point. The issue isn't whether science is finished. It's whether the mechanisms being proposed have actually demonstrated the ability to produce the kind of biological systems they're claimed to explain. You and I both know that they don't, LOL.